Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show for the final movie review segment. Adam, how's it going in DC? How was your holiday?
Holiday was great. Went down to Atlanta area, saw some family, saw some lights, the botanical gardens. I don't know if you ever done that, the light show they do there,
Mm.
but did that. That was fun. And then it's cold down there. It's cold up here. It's just
Yeah,
winter's really setting in, I guess.
exactly. Well, I'll let you all take it away with movie reviews.
Yeah, sure thing. So I know this is our last movie review segment. I actually have not got a chance to see a movie because I was traveling so much recently. I will say though, I have started Frankenstein. It's Guillermo del Toro's newest movie that came out back in October. It's on Netflix. That's been pretty good so far with Oscar Isaac. But I did see two shows, and I wanted to talk about those. So the first one is the show of the season, Stranger Things season five. So I feel like this show has been around forever, and we're finally in season five, the final season of the show, following, our favorite high schoolers who now look like 30-year-old teenagers in Hawkins, Indiana. And if anyone remembers last season, it ended with like big crack in the ground. And I thought, well, how will they solve this? And I'm not giving too much spoilers from the show, but they just patched it up. And that's how the season starts, where the city is in quarantine, the government's there, they've patched up the giant crack in earth by just putting like metal plates over it, and now our teens and adults are trying to hunt down Vecna, the big villain that was introduced last season. So far, Netflix is, of course, splitting it up into multiple parts, but each episode is well over an hour, so it's like watching a lot of mini movies throughout the time. Besides the age, which you can definitely tell everyone's gotten so much older than when they started. It's fun. It's fun to hop back into that world. I've been enjoying it so far. I feel a little bit like for anyone who's been watching the show, we stuck around with it for so long. We do want to see how it ends, for good or bad, and I think they will deliver kind of a mostly good ending. But yeah, it's and I don't know what year it started. It must have started like 8 or 10 years ago, but it's kind of good to be finishing that chapter of a TV show. Um, To start, though, now we have a whole new TV show that I've been getting into on Apple TV Plus. So finally, Apple TV has a hit show with Pluribus.
They already got a hit.
And I don't know if any of you seen this show, but it's a post-apocalyptic world where Rhea Seehorn, who, if you've seen Better Call Saul, she's the female lead of the show, is the main character, and she's basically someone who's survived. I don't want to spoil too much, but she survived this like world that's still a world, but like different. And she's like one of few that's not affected by what's going on to everyone else in the world. So she has to navigate her way around that. It's created and directed by Vince Gilligan, who, if you've seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, he created both of those shows, a big writer. So it's good. It's really fun. It's intriguing. It's got kind of that good sense of humor, and so they're releasing it on weekly episodes, only a few episodes in, but I'm liking it so far.
Nice.
Is that it for you, Adam?
Yeah, that's it for me.
How dare you say Apple Plus finally has a hit TV show? How dare you? The morning show is
That's
a hit television show, brother. Steven,
the
help me out on this one. How
show,
dare Adam?
right?
Okay, I mean, and I know Severance is the hit show. I guess morning show is kind of
Wow. Wow. Give the
like.
morning show its due. Give
Look,
it
but
its
I will
due.
say, after all these years, for our final movie review, I finally got Apple TV Plus. It was included free with something else, so it's not like I paid
Mhm.
for it. But I got a
Yeah.
year subscription, so I finally joined the bandwagon. And I will, now that I have it, I will check out the morning show. I know it's going to be great.
That's
I'm just waiting.
yeah.
Yeah. I was going to talk about the morning show in my lineup, but since we're already on it, Steven, how much better can the show get?
Oh my
Every
God.
week, it just tops the one before.
Oh my God. I mean, yes, yes. And I was so proud of Mitch. So proud of Mitch
Right,
for doing it.
right,
Yeah, because that's not usually him. But he still don't
yeah.
like I think because it impacted, the reason why his mom passed, or she took her life. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
he chose his own interest
And that's
over.
Corey. That's Corey, not
Oh,
Mitch.
Corey. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mitch been on. Yeah, Corey. You know I tear names up, but Corey, yeah, Corey. He did the right thing. Um, and they talked about it when they were promoting this season. Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, how their characters kind of help each other out this season, and you saw that in that
Hmm.
episode. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. What are
You
your
get to
thoughts?
see the bonds that lie underneath of what's in front.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
reminds me too, like the relationships that you form when you do work closely with people, and your work actually depends on the next person. You do develop a personal relationship, and you begin to care about people.
Yeah, but and then even if you don't really get along with them all that great, you still when something
Yeah,
happens, like what happened to Reese's
yeah.
character, you want to step in. But I do like how um I guess the showrunner, whomever, when the head was like, don't air the protest, don't air what's going on.
Mhm.
They went behind her back and they did it anyway. You know,
Right.
yeah. I mean, this show was just so
At the end of the day, it's a business, and you have
right.
to lean into what you're there for. And no
Exactly.
matter what the subject matter is, if this, especially if it's a news organization and
Yep.
news is happening, you can't ignore it because you have a personal connection to it. It's still news.
And it makes it obvious when you're not reporting something. I remember when
Hmm.
Jimmy Kimmel, when his show was definitely suspended, and The
Hmm.
View didn't talk about it. And so
Hmm.
they had to come back the next week and they made it seem like we didn't talk about it, we were waiting to see what happened. But people were
Hmm.
thinking, are y'all, because ABC, are you purposely not reporting on this? And so the
Right,
fact that
right,
obvious when people aren't talking about something that's happening, where they would usually talk about it with someone else. You know what I mean? Yeah.
right. So I already talked about the morning show. Let's talk about the films that I saw. The first film was called The Roses, which stars Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch. And this is a lot of people don't know this, but this is a retelling of War of the Roses. If anyone remembers War of the Roses, it's a very iconic movie which stars Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, in which
Mhm.
they are a couple who fall madly in love and they are able to acquire great amount of wealth. Both of them being entrepreneurs, and they put their assets together and they build this empire of a marriage and of a life, and they break up. And
Mhm.
it's the divorce splitting the assets movie. Although this is a retelling of that story, it was a fresh take on that story, which didn't seem like it was a remake of War of the Roses. War of the Roses, the Roses. And I was someone who watched War of the Roses over and over and over again. I used to know that movie like the back of my hand because it was so iconic. The Roses doesn't seem like it's telling the same story. It seems like a fresh, brand new story, but some of the same principles are in it. I thought it was very, very good. I love to see these two British actors get together, and they actually write that in the script of the movie about both of them being British and the accents and British sense of humor and how that's different from American sense of humor. And it kind of played into the marriage and how other people saw their marriage from the outside looking in. I just thought it was really good. It didn't last in the theaters that long. It went to streaming pretty quickly, so it didn't do well in the theater, but it was a good movie. It's worth the watch. Definitely check that out. And I took my niece on Friday to go see Wicked for good. This is the second installment of the Wicked movie. I'm just going to say, um, 2 hours and change is a long time to hear a whole bunch of singing. Knew it was a musical when I walked into it. Knew that already, but it just seemed like it was way more songs than the first movie, and it seemed like it was way longer than the first movie. There were moments getting toward the end because, this is a side story to The Wizard of Oz. And how they incorporated The Wizard of Oz into Wicked, it seemed a little rushed and choppy to me. It just didn't seem seamless to me, with integrating Dorothy and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. Certain aspects of it seemed on point, but then other aspects seemed like it just didn't fit, like they were just making it up to fit it in. I didn't like that part. But overall, it was a good movie. It was great to be out with my niece. She's like one of my best dates ever. Love her. Love you, Niecy. Um,
Actually, I
yeah,
saw that movie as well. In which I'm surprised I didn't see the first one, but I saw this one. And
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say, "Oh, I watched part two without seeing part one."
no, and I because I think part one is on Prime or something that I was gonna watch it, but I was like, I don't have.
Peacock. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's on Prime too, though. It was on one
Oh,
something else.
really?
It was one that I have. I don't have to go. But anyway, I did think it was funny though. Well, you know what? There was discussion like before I saw it. I saw an article that said Ariana Grande stole the movie. And I saw that and I didn't think much of it. And then someone else asked me, "Who do you think stole it?" And I said, "Well, I don't think anyone stole it. I think it was a great ensemble cast. But I think she did have
Mm-hmm.
a lot more scenes. You know what I mean? But you're
Yes. Yeah.
Chike. I was with said they sing one more song, wrap this thing up. I mean, they sound
And
amazing, but it
honestly,
was like all
I
this
was
singing.
getting
You
sick
know,
of seeing Ariana Grande cry. I was getting sick of hearing her cry. She cried almost in every scene.
her character got her character got on my nerves anyway. But I do think it was when Dorothy was wearing the shoes and they were arguing about you had no right to give her my shoes, give my sister shoes. Those weren't yours to give. I thought that was funny. But I do like how
Yeah.
they kind of showed the behind the scenes from their perspective of what was going on uh with
Right.
um
Right.
with the movie
And I don't want to go.
Dorothy.
I do want to go into what the issues were for me with the inconsistencies, but I don't want to give away the movie. But there
Yeah.
is this is the cohesion of the Wicked story and the Wizard of Oz. At certain points, it just didn't make sense. But anyway, you'll figure it out
Yeah.
once you see it. But overall, it was a good movie. Just a little too long, too much singing. Um, yeah,
Yes.
but it was good.
Well,
Beautiful
yeah,
colors, everything. Beautiful.
yeah. Well, first of all, they split a movie into or a play into two movies, which was already
Hmm.
like milking it. So how much could they actually show? And apparently, the Broadway play historically is known for having a bad second act. Like the second act is the weaker of
Hmm.
the
Oh wow.
I can see
production.
that.
So I think they had trouble from the get-go knowing that like how do you fill a movie for 2 hours and it's not as good as the first half.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. I
I
agree.
I am surprised you didn't go to Zootopia though, because I mean I heard that was the big hit of the weekend.
Well, can I just say this? They Zootopia us out of our mind. Zootopia, A+ on the marketing. Everywhere I turned and everywhere I looked, there was a Zootopia 2. They must have did two previews and they had posters going up. And then even, how the movie, I don't know which theaters you go to, but right before the movie starts, like some movies will have you on the movie roller coaster or
Yep.
certain will have you walking through like a movie haunted house or whatever that is. Zootopia took that over because they did it, but the Zootopia characters was all involved in that. So they spent a lot of money on
Disney
Zootopia.
money.
So I hope they made their nut back. I really do. Because they
Well,
put a
apparently
lot of
I haven't seen it yet, but I will say I just read recently online. It is the fourth highest opening of a movie of worldwide, so worldwide gross of all
wow,
time. So it's
wow, wow.
Endgame, Infinity War, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Zootopia 2 worldwide opening. So yeah,
There
I
you
think the
go.
marketing worked.
There you go. All right. So welcome to Dairy. I'm still on that. That's another show. It just gets better and better. Every episode is better than the last. I'm here for it. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. And to me, it gets more active than the It movies, the old one and the new one. It gets more active. Check it
Nice.
out. The Chair Company. I'm still watching that. That silly ass show. HBO is really good at what they do. Listen, if you like dark comedy, dry humor, this is the show for you. Definitely check that out. And I'm rewatching probably about from middle of the first season, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, because they're about to come out with season two. And that was a show that I got into and then I kind of fell off of it. Not because of the show or anything, it's just because I got busy. But that's a produced show, and I want to stick with it because I'm into Greek mythology, and I would like to hear their take on um, being a demigod and being in the modern day, knowing that you're a demigod. And it just reminds me of like Jason and the Argonauts of back in the day or Clash
Yeah.
of the Titans. I live for that kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. And it's on Disney Plus. And I think that they pour a lot of money into this particular show to be on streaming. You can tell that they spend a lot of money on it. The special effects are A plus. The storylines are A plus. And I love that these young people are getting their start in their career in the series. So definitely check it out. And the last movie that I saw was Conjuring, The Conjuring Last Rites. This is the last Conjuring film, and this is the last, I guess, family that the Warrens worked with out of southern Pennsylvania. They had a demon infestation in their home. I hate to laugh at that, but demon infestation just sound funny. Um, yeah, so they had a demon infestation, and the Warrens were already retired. They weren't going to do any more work. Ed Warren had suffered a heart attack, and he really wasn't in the best of health. And they didn't want to put the strain on him anymore, so they kind of pulled back from doing, you know, the home cleansing as they would have. And um, their daughter, who was born with the same gift as the mother, actually was called to the home by the spirits. They led her to the home to only, they wanted her soul, basically. And they took her through it. The family comes in and tries to help. And here you have, you know, the action of the movie. I thought that as a horror movie, it was a little weak, but I thought that in the full scope of telling the Warren story, it was a nice final movie for a send off for the whole host of movies that they've done. And you have to think about this chain goes all the way back to Insidious. That was the first movie. So if you think about Insidious and you think about all the Insidious movies, you think about Annabelle, you think about all the Annabelle movies, you think about The Conjuring and all the Conjuring movies, this is a continuation of the Warrens' story. So I think they had a nice run. They had a pretty good run of the movies that they were involved in to lead up to this. Again, the movie as horror was weak, but the ending of a stream of movies, it was pretty decent. So that's on streaming. It won't hurt you to check it out because you get to sit at home and watch it for free. Semi free, not free.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. I thought it was pretty good too. But yeah, I agree with you. The only thing I want to talk about is I
Yeah.
saw Being Eddie, which is the Netflix documentary on Eddie Murphy. When it talked about his nearly 50-year career and personal life. Um, I will say that it was interesting when he talked about his personal life. He really escaped over his first marriage when he has like 5 kids. Like they talked about him going through a divorce, and he never said his wife's name, his ex-wife's name. They just showed a picture of their wedding day. And then he talks
Mm-hmm.
about when he met his current wife, which they've been together 14 years. But it showed all the kids together and everything together. And but I thought it was a great documentary. It's interesting. His personality, which I've heard this in the past, is a lot different than his persona. He's more to
Mm-hmm.
himself and quiet. But I do think he does now understand who he is. Like he's Eddie Murphy. And he talked about stepping away from movies because he was making bad movies, nothing was happening, and what made him come back to remind people who he was. And that's when he went back to SNL, which people thought he had a beef with SNL, because when he put out a movie, they kind of trashed him on their the news desk part they do on SNL. And he said it wasn't necessarily the actor or the comic that did it. It was the different approvals they have to go through to get a joke told on there, and he took it as SNL doing it as a whole, the institution of it doing. That's why he was upset. But years later, he was like, Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
he's
that was
rich.
really
He
good.
doesn't care.
It's on Netflix, yeah. All right, listen, guys, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate all the years of these wonderful movie reviews and let us know what to spend our time and money on. And we'll be right back after this.